All right, we're back here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports. Got a new episode for you, episode 71 here, joining you on just a epic Sunday morning after just a unreal Saturday of football, and especially a Niners-Packers game that we will surely get into. As you can see, Tyler above, I expect good energy, expect good thoughts from him tonight, this morning, I should say. But first off, gentlemen, episode 71, how are we doing? Tyler, let's start with you, that little grin up there. How are we doing?
Feels good, baby. I'm excited, ready to go. What a night. I can't believe it. They just got by the skin of their teeth. And it's on to hopefully the Rams. I don't want to see the GOAT. So
You slept like a baby last night.
The alcohol helped.
You got a certain point that you went from there. So we will definitely get all of your thoughts, many questions around that game. We're going to focus primarily on that game here. We'll obviously talk about the other games as well. But Case, what are you up to? How you doing? You can go play some basketball here in a little bit. You said you're gonna cut out us early. You son of a gun.
I gotta bounce a little early, fellas. I gotta get my basketball Jones in. But yeah, no, it's been a good day, man. So far, I woke up a little late and got into this meeting. But last night
it's been a good day so far. You've been awake for I've
been awake for like 10 minutes, but.
Well, I like the way you said that. It's been a good day so far.
It has. Tyler said, man, it was a hell of a game, man. Watched down, went downstairs, caught the end of the game with mom and dad, and that was just an epic finish. Niners just, man, if you watch the Niners game the last 3 weeks, man, you're going to get a good game. So
that seems to be the key. We'll get into that, like I said here. It was an interesting week for me. I had dealing with girls basketball starting up and all the COVID stuff here in California, and trying to keep a gym under 50 people is insane. And you count players, coaches, so all this type of stuff. And then my son tested positive for it. So, we're trying to quarantine him. He's only he's super young, so that's hard to do. So it just out here in California, it's tough still with that stuff. And then yesterday, Derek had his first game in a while. And I told him, I was like, all right, he's like, can I get some food afterwards? I was like, well, if you play well, I've heard stories of Carmelo Anthony and others. That's how they ate. They had to play well on the street to win. So I was like, if you play well, I'll get you we'll get a nice big lunch. And he played unreal in the first half. But in the second half, he looked like the fatigue really set in. He was a whole different man. He sat up that halftime and he was a different man. So he goes, well, am I still going to get to eat? I said, yeah, we'll stop at the gas station to get a snack and a soda. And then we'll stay together to get a big lunch. I just thought that was funny. So, but he did play well. I was happy with him. Also have to shout out my wife on our 11th anniversary yesterday. We weren't able to do really anything special because the COVID stuff with Xavier here, but hopefully next week we'll do something. But Anna, love you. Obviously, you guys know her well. And so
congratulations.
What do you think? 2011, January 22nd. That was the day.
Where's the baby face picture of us all?
And the place that we went to after burned down in the fires. But we survived even that. We survived that.
Tyler's bloody nose.
Hey, I've been through a lot with her, obviously, with just everything. So, Juan, I love you, appreciate it, and thank you for right, Tyler. How could we forget coffee?
The coffee. I got my second refill filled right now.
Pull it out of the garbage and bring it up.
Yeah, it's filled with coffee over there. You'll see it in the second half of the show.
All right, we got it over there. So that, and then I also wanted to, yesterday, Brian randomly hit me up and the other day, I was like, hey, let's do a quick little pod or something like that. I was like, well, I got 10 minutes. We did a little quick one. It was very interesting with them. And then, but I wanted to bring that up to shout out your brother, Tyler, Ryan McGurk. He left a comment in there, trying to get other people to leave comments. And so I actually want to say, Ryan, I just really appreciate your support from the beginning. Every time I see him, he has something nice to say. He's trying to get the momentum going for our show. I appreciate that from him. And as he knows, I always got his back. It feels like he has ours. So
that's my big bro.
Yeah, I just, Ryan, very cool with doing that stuff. I also wanted to shout out a few other people that might be checking in. Of course, the guys from Let's Be Real Sports. Trevor, thanks again for joining us last week. Tyler's mannequin double, thank you for joining us on the YouTube video.
Sorry I couldn't make it. I really wish I could have been there.
I thought that was hilarious. Also wanted to shout out the guy from Drop the Ball pod. I love his tweets are really good. Chris, he does a good job on his little podcast. He's starting to do more videos. So I don't know. I wanted to shout out them. Savage, of course, from I Don't Know Sports, House of Hoops. And then, of course, our guys, Adam, Matt, Brian checking in. And then this guy, Mike Rivera, I think he might follow you too. He's friends with Mateo. So maybe he's checking out the podcast today as well. So just wanted to shout out those guys. But yeah, so should have a good pod in here for you. Let me just take a quick little break here. We'll be back and we'll get into all Niners, Packers, and we'll touch on Sharks, Titans as well. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back here. Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 71 here. And let's get into it. The game of the day, folks, yesterday. I love it. I have a few Packers fans on my Twitter account. One of them who originally followed me from the very beginning. I don't know how the heck we still are friends of that there, but we randomly follow each other. Yesterday was a reason for us to actually tweet each other, and we made it happen. Tyler, big game yesterday. Going into the game, you had to be nervous as you know what. Rodgers, the MVP, just horrible hair flowing out of his helmet.
It's like a bum out there.
Exactly. Troy Aikman's voice cracking all over the place last night. Snow. I mean, where were you at this game? Just give me your initial thoughts, and then we'll start to break this game down, maybe a little bit quarter by quarter here. I have some notes from each one, but let's just get right into it. Tyler McGurk's thoughts on the game.
Before the game, I was a wreck. I was like, dang it, the Titans were already upset. Now a home team's probably going to pull this off. Wasn't having much faith with Jimmy and the freezing elements and all these stats about California teams coming out to Lambeau and playing in below like temperature weathers. They average like 13 points a game or something. And I'm like, oh, gee, this isn't good. And then we saw what we saw. The offense. Do you want to go into the game, or do you want me to just?
Yeah, go. I just want your thoughts on it. Yeah, we'll kind of break it down there.
Offense stunk up the joint. They didn't do anything. They were non-existent. They didn't do anything all game. Jimmy threw 6 near pick sixes, I would say, if you add them up. They got that fumble that stopped the second drive where it looked like the Packers were just going to blow us out, which was a huge play by Fred, getting the peanut punch. And then the turning point was the block punt, and it gave us life.
What would you say? Cause I felt like there's a few turning points. Like I kind of so like if we can kind of reset back to the first quarter a little bit here. Okay, so you guys, Casey, and we were kind of texting early in the night there. And Casey was right. The first 8 minutes, the Packers were just they looked like they were off a bye week. They were just everywhere. They were executing. Looks like they had that first drive penciled in, practiced that thing thousands of times. You guys had no answer for Adams that first drive at all, maybe even the first 2 drives. And then, the big play obviously was Kittle drops that pass. Obviously, that kind of maybe would have gave you guys a little momentum in that first quarter. But then, the fumble. To me, that was the first momentum changer because they were rolling again in that.
Yeah, they were about to go run down and get another quick 7. It was not looking good. I even said on my couch to Emily, I was like, they're going to need one of these like lucky turnovers or something where just we get the ball somehow. And there it was. I was like, it was literally the next play. I jumped out of my seat.
I felt like every time we group text, something big happened like within the next 3 minutes. Like there was always like a fumble or a block.
That was the best part about the game in general. It was low scoring, but there was a lot of plays that were huge that changed the momentum and stuff.
Now, if you're a Jaguars fan and you're watching that, maybe you're not feeling the same way. But I don't know. Maybe there is. I don't know. Case minus 7 yards of offense for the Niners in the first quarter there. Rodgers and Adams I have is just nasty. That's what I wrote the first quarter notes there for them. Case, as we move into the second quarter here, Jimmy G is at this point 1 for 6 for 15 yards. And the Niners are running sweeps on basically every play to try to get something going. But then at that point in the second quarter, it feels like Bosa, you could just start to feel his presence. Didn't you think he was jumping out of the screen a little bit, Case? Get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no doubt. If you dissect that game layer by layer, quarter by quarter, you could progressively see the Niners getting better. Like it was like slowly coming along. Like the more the game went, the Packers were regressing, where it's like they started off so hot and then they just started coming back down to earth a little bit. Which was weird because, like I said, like you commented earlier, like the first 8 minutes, you could tell who had that bye week. Like they came out real fast. Yeah. Niners looked like they're a little bit slower, But that
Back in the mud.
Fred Warner fumble, man, that like juiced them up. It was like, all right, like shot in the arm, like, all right, let's go, boys. Like, we in this now. And man, just as I watched that game, you could really tell the momentum swing. And honestly, to tell the truth, before
swung a few times.
That block,
Niners got like 8 swings towards their break.
No, but I to say that blocked field goal before the half, that thing was huge, man.
And how about a sack before that even too, to set it farther back on that one. And then if Jimmy G didn't throw that interception, we maybe never would have had that field goal block. So we got to thank him as well for throwing that in.
Hold on. There's that damn timeout Kyle Shanahan called, but I was like, what are you doing? Just let it go into half. We're not going to score on this team at this point. We got so nothing. And he called the timeout. I was like, oh God. And then they complete that bomb to Aaron Jones. I was like, you idiot. But then Bosa came up with a huge play. And then we got that block that was ginormous.
And then Casey, you're right. That block was key. And then I get Mateo's tweet, who's been on the podcast, where he goes, "Yeah, we found a team that has worse special teams." And I guess my awareness of the Packers special teams wasn't there. I knew the Niners was bad because of us, talking about it throughout the year. But I haven't seen it enough, I guess. And so I kept seeing that stuff. And it started after that play. You could see the Packers fans getting more nervous on Twitter about it.
I just love how Kyle Shanahan put Debo on the special team return. Like, just get your best player involved however you can. And to me, that was huge. I mean, got that possession up to the 45-yard line on that one return. I don't understand why teams honestly don't do that more often. Just if you have a special,
especially in the playoffs, right?
Right. I mean, I really don't get it. I know you're maybe not trying to get injured, not hurt, but if you want to really win those type of games, like, you have to do whatever you can to get your best player involved. And I love that.
Especially if you're not the better team. Like, not that the Niners are a worse team, but they're definitely maybe a little more offensively challenged. So every time you can get it in your best players' hands, then you should take it for sure. Like, they shouldn't have Devontae Adams out there returning kicks for the Packers. It wouldn't make sense. Like, but when you have a player like Debo and you have trouble moving the ball with a quarterback like Jimmy, it's the perfect opportune time to put him back.
There might be some guys in practice that drop the ball more than we know too. They, just because they don't. I'm not saying they do every time, but there could be some things that they're a little fumbling on.
I did want to ask this. So Tyler, after the Niners win, what did you do? Instantly.
Hold on. Let's get to the third quarter first, Kate. Oh, you're skipping ahead, my man. Skipping ahead here. So third quarter here, the snow's starting to come down a little bit. We're starting to get a little, the real Green Bay type feel here for the game here. That was kind of the coolest part. You started to see that. The field started to get nice. You felt like you were at the frozen tundra. You've heard Chris Berman say it thousands of times. That's where my mind wanted to go to. And then the Niners come out well. Mitchell gets that bad face mask call there. Looks like they're doing good there. They end up Debo gets hit hard on a play there. The Niners end up with a field goal, get it to 7-3 there, Tyler. But then to me, I'm starting to notice, and I wonder if your mind has started to go there. I'm like, can the Niners' best players hang on here health-wise? Williams started to get down. Debo was taking hits. You could tell he was getting banged. Kittle looked like he was trying to put his shoulder in place every 5 seconds, or his ankle was going down. And then, I don't know, I'm just curious of what you thought at the end of the third quarter, still 7-3. Rodgers is, he's 16 for 22, 208 yards. What are you starting to think from the defensive side? Like, are you nervous now about the Packers? They're doing nothing on offense.
No, I was almost more calm when they had the ball than when Jimmy was throwing these out routes for pick sixes that they just couldn't capitalize on. I was like, I almost preferred when they had the ball so they could do something defensively because they were doing nothing. Everything was a check down. They never even attempted to throw the ball deep downfield until I think their last pass of the game.
So you turned into the Ravens defense from the early 2000s.
Yeah, we just were shutting them down. We were bracketing Adams, and everyone else was playing great man coverage.
You guys, like you said, Rodgers is he's moving the ball a little bit, but there's just more dinking and dunking. They're really not doing anything.
Yeah, and then the guy who we don't talk about enough on this podcast is Eric Armstead. He took over that game as well. He's had 6 sacks in the last 3 games, and with Bosa, and then you had him in. They both were just phenomenal.
They were getting a pass rush with 3 people. I mean, they were on every play, Kate. They were just putting heat on. That's the one thing to stop the great quarterbacks. You make them have to move them more than they're used to. And the Packers, to their thing too, though, is at the end of this, we'll be saying then they might want another receiver if they're going to keep Rodgers. I mean, if you look at it was like 18 receptions, 9 of them to Adams, 9 of them to the running back Jones, and then 1 for like Lazard, 1 for somebody else. I was like, that is pathetic. That, you know what I mean, Case? That is some bad wide receiver play. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes here. As you know, I like to say here, the fourth quarter, Case. I mean, Niners D's, like we could talk about them forever. But I was also impressed with the Packers pass rush. They weren't playing as good at defense. They still played good defense.
They played great.
They weren't like stopping the run as well as the Niners and stuff. But I was impressed with the Packers pass rush. Maybe that's Jimmy G sucking, but I don't know. It seemed like Smith was good for them and some other players.
Yeah, the guy from Gary was good. Sorry, Casey, I didn't. My bad.
No, that's all good, man. I really don't think like both offenses played that well. I think both defense are like they're really, really good, man. Like you can't slide. I know Jimmy G, man, he got lucky. I ain't gonna lie, but when it comes down to winning time, that boy wins, man. Whatever you got to do, you know, he wins. But to me, like it really just came down to the front four on both sides. I mean, really, like Daren said, like that defense, like man, that's Super Bowl winning defense on both sides. To be honest, offensively, they're challenged both teams, but on defense. Man, if you're gonna win a Super Bowl, that's how you do it. You know, just rush forward and on the back end. And I got to shout out Brian's boy Josh Norman did step in pretty well for you guys.
He did play good.
He did. That's when he came in. That's the first thing I thought about was they went right at him too.
They did target him right away. It's not like they were like
twice in a row. But yeah, no, he held his own. But yeah, no, it was their defense, man. That's special to watch. I mean. I don't know how in the world Fred Warner is not a Pro Bowl player, but that guy is amazing. To me, he's the best linebacker I've seen maybe since like Ray Lewis. He's unreal.
Linebackers in there too, I'd say. Okay, so Packers get the field goal 10-3, Tyler, 11:27 left. The Niners starting to move again. Kittle gets a big 30-yard play. And then I wanted to get your take on that fourth down play call, though. Like, it felt like they felt rushed. And then the Niners, like, just do a little handoff and they get -1 yards. And the ball goes back to the Packers with about 6 minutes left where you start to be like, oh, crap at that point. You know,
yeah, that was the play call didn't make sense because they had Trent Williams go in motion to, like, block to the outside. They ran it, like, straight up the center. Yeah, they ran the play earlier and they went more outside. So I was like, what the heck happened there? And I don't know if the defensive tackle just blew it up too early, like where they couldn't even get to the outside. But it was it didn't work. The execution is not good.
I thought Shanahan might call a timeout there because it kind of rushed. It felt like they didn't even get out of the huddle for like 13 seconds left, but he probably didn't want to waste one being down 7 points at that point, think he's going to need it. Okay, so then we get to the part. You know, the Niners get another sack on Rodgers. They move him back again, and now we're punting. And I don't know what your thought, Tyler, but when that ball got blocked for a second, I was like, oh, the Niners better score on this. Like, not get to the 3-yard line. Like, they better get a touchdown on this because I don't know about you. I wouldn't want the ball at the 3 yards with Jimmy G. I might not get a touchdown there. I was like, you guys,
no, you're definitely not guaranteed to get a touchdown. But I wanted the ball there. Like, you don't not want it there. But
well, you're going to get the ball automatically. Yeah. But I was thinking, like, get 7 points without having to do anything on offense now. Like, tie it up. Did you think that at all in the block?
Oh, for sure. I was like I was like watching out of the corner of my eye. And guy, Patrick Willis's nephew, just kidding, just Malik Willis, but he comes in with his big paw and it goes straight up. I didn't know if it was going 20 more yards over his head or if it was landing, and all of a sudden it like lands in Troy Polamalu Jr. Tufunga. Notices it, picks it up, and I just erupted. It was like a volcano. I think I woke up all my neighbors. I didn't hear any cheering from them. It was a very happy moment.
What a play! And then what a pathetic special teams play. You cannot get blocked there. You cannot get blocked there. All right, so let's get to that here. Niners then they're in that tricky situation, kind of how the Raiders were a few weeks ago against the Chargers when it was like 3rd and 7, and if they don't get it, there's enough time for the quarterback to go. But you're also in that spot where you maybe would want to go for it, but if you don't get it, the other quarterback's like 20 yards from field goal range. So they get that huge run by Samuel to set up who gets the first down eventually. And at that point, you guys could run it out. And Robbie Gould, money in the bank, 19 for 19. And that was a weird snap. And it looked like he just was like a little trot. He kind of got misstepped on it. He just kind of like stopped and just like easy money through the field. I was like, what the hell?
Get 50 yards right down the middle.
I don't know. You had to be. I mean, I was like excited for you. I was for our podcast too to be able to talk about it more. So, Case, now maybe ask your question here you had from earlier on Tyler what you're doing after the game.
Yeah, I'll ask two things here. So, Tyler, really, how did you feel after that win, bro? Because I know me and you were texting my brother. How'd you really feel after you like rip off the shirt? What'd you do?
No, it was a two-fisted double pump. The roar like you never heard before. Robbie Gould, what a guy. What a man. Stud. Like he saved us in the Rams game with his punting and his field goal kicking. He beat the Cowboys with some good kicks, and now just a spectacular Adam Vinatieri-esque field goal.
We should try to do a weekly podcast, Casey, with Robbie Gould. The
other thing I wanted to ask.
How cold was Robbie Gould's head during that game? Must have been freezing.
Oh man, yeah, no, he warmed up that helmet right before.
I saw that.
But no, like, what do you really think though? Troy Aikman was really like harsh on Jimmy G. Like,
well, he should have been.
Like, he was harsh. Like, I've heard but he was ripping him hard. What'd you think about that?
I just think of Eric Davis picking him off for a pick six every time he mentioned Jimmy G throwing intercepts. Like, oh, fuck you, Troy. I remember Eric Davis running one back in the first quarter in the NFC Championship game.
No, but did you guys notice that though?
Oh, but he did throw some crazy passes.
Those were floater McGee's. Like, honestly, if I was a cornerback in the NFL, I would have been like, like every time he threw, like that one for sure. The guy, he went
to the outside
for Green Bay. Those Stokes, he went to the outside arm when he should have cut it off in the mid. He like beat the running back to the tackle, and if he would have just cut inside, he probably would have at least maybe picked it off for a pick. You got to, and then he threw a couple where he was like rolling out, and he just kind of got desperate and threw it to the receiver. He actually caught one. I don't even know how that one was caught. Remember that one early, Tyler? It looked like he got it between two guys. Like I tweeted on I wrote what's his arm strength in Madden?
Yes.
So I mean, it can't be good right now. It felt like, remember, that was the worst. If you had a good quarterback in franchise mode and he gets hurt during the game, you got to bring in your 55 like Bobby
79 arm power.
Tyler, you guys will remember this. Remember the third baseman in MLB where the guy couldn't throw it to
Gary Gaetti?
There's nobody more disrespected.
Couldn't get it to the face.
A random fact. Gary Gaetti. Look it up. He had the arm strength of a small old woman. He had the arm strength as well. All right. So final notes here, Tyler. We'll get into some other games here, and we'll let Casey miss some layups here.
Wow. Shots fired.
Okay, Rodgers, they need a receiver. Let's go Packers, just for a quick here. They need a receiver here badly.
Hold on. To get to that, why the people were like, "Oh, this is proof that the Packers should have drafted a quarterback." I go, "No, it isn't. It's proof they should have taken a receiver instead of Jordan Love. They could have taken
T. Higgins was the guy.
They could have taken T. Higgins. They could have taken Pittman Jr. They could have taken KJ Hamler. They took a quarterback who.
Isn't it weird that the Packers and the Patriots, Tyler, did the same thing kind of with their great quarterbacks? They almost thought they were so great that they didn't want to get them extra great receivers. It's like almost like they can do with what they have, and they can get these other positions more.
But the difference is Rodgers at least had Adams.
Yeah, but it's weird to see. It's weird to see them. To me, it seems similar though the way they did it.
Yeah, I'd agree that.
No, you're right. Adams is a beast.
But they did get lucky taking Adams in like the second or third round
from Fresno State. Okay, so Rodgers, his future obviously is up in the air. He's going to have these stupid commercials going. We lost. We'll see what Green Bay does. All this kind of boring stuff from him. Always pessimistic. He'll probably be hosting Jeopardy here in no time.
At McAfee will be eating it up.
Yes, he will be. You probably enjoyed that game as well. All right, last part here. Jimmy G. Is this earned him the starting job next year?
No, absolutely not. Not this game.
I mean,
but if he puts up 235 burgers and wins the Super Bowl, maybe. But this game doesn't get him the city.
This is like the luckiest man on earth or something. Like that record, like that performance, like that is like one of the worst quarterback played games I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was not good for a winning team anyway.
middle of the second quarter. My funniest note I have is they were averaging 0.7 yards, but that per play. That was like my favorite. That was my favorite. They were going backwards more than they were forward at that point. All right, guys, great. That was a great discussion there. Tyler, I'm going to give you the final word of the game here, then we'll take a quick little break. Anything you want to say before we take a little break here? We'll get back to Titans Bengals here, and maybe Tyler ripping on us about the Chargers thing we did a couple weeks ago.
Shout out the defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans. He did an outstanding job. And this will be the most satisfying path to a Super Bowl ever if we get the Rams and beat their ass. Beat the Cowboys, the Packers, and the Rams all in the playoffs. Nothing would be more satisfying for a Niner fan.
And then look at that smile, people.
And we've won 9 out of 11. I would have never thought we'd be in this situation. I was ripping on them after that Colt McCoy loss. I was like, this team is garbage. What the fuck is this? But here we are. All right. NFC Championship game. Let's go Rams.
Crap now with the Niners. Me and Casey will still suffer at the Raiders here together here. All right. Well,
I'm just hoping Rodgers
goes to our dad in the 70s. It sounds like the 70s, Casey. The Raiders got all these wins out of the way that the Niners are getting now. Sounds like
all right.
We will have our day, Mike.
Oh, I saw some Raider tweet you got to defend. Oh, if that was a Raiders play, that would have been, or if that was a Raiders, what'd you say?
That was a fumble. They would have definitely.
I'll have to go through the timeline.
Yeah. No, you tweeted it, Daren.
I know I have to go through the timeline. I forget what I wrote. Let's see what I'd say about the Raiders real quick. I said
I was like, oh god, they got so many breaks just a couple weeks ago against somebody.
If that's the Raiders, it's a fumble. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Could have been that. You never know. Yeah, they got a few breaks and they blow a whistle. They don't get that obvious break. All right, let's take a quick little. We'll be back to talk kind of wrap up the NFL part of it. All right, we're back here, episode 71, second part of that NFL part of the Fatboy FadeAway podcast here. Good conversation there on the Niners. Packers one. We're a little long there, but for one like that, we have to. All right, Casey had to bounce. Let's get into the next game here. Titans Bengals, the other upset of the day. I know for me and you, it's like if you would have told us 2 years ago, me and you, this game maybe really wouldn't have had a real afterthought meeting to it, other than my buddy Nick got a team loss and it's kind of typical Titans. But now that
it's going to make up 1/4 or 1/2 of the AFC Championship game, and after that, I wouldn't think about it again.
Exactly, but now I feel like we've kind of had we got the guys P Sharp. We've done the Let's Tighten Up podcast.
We're Memphis of the West.
We're Memphis of the West. We've kind of connected some other peoples in Tennessee. Your Vols fans over there
we're number 3 in the nation.
There's actually a few I still communicate with here randomly once in a while that followed us after that whole beef you had. So that's the one thing. All right. So Titans Bengals, let's get into it a little bit. 19-16. They were a 4-point favorite. When I bet them, they were a 4-point favorite. I should have done it earlier, but it didn't matter. They lost. But
who'd you bet?
I bet the Titans to win.
The Titan Caboodles.
I put $5 on them. They lost, so I lost my $5. But there it goes. Tannehill. Oh, I think we've said it the whole year. I think my thing was him and Jimmy. I think I asked it to P Shark when I did the podcast with him, or he was on ours. I said something like, "Do Titans fans actually trust him though?" Come that time, and I think back then he was like, no, but he also kind of felt like I think he had to say yes, and I kind of get that vibe throughout the whole year with just kind of conversations, the spaces we did. I think everybody knew he was flawed, but because he has won, kind of like Jimmy G has won, and he does have better arm strength than Jimmy G, some of those things, but
he's more mobile.
But at the end of the day, 4 interceptions in a playoff game. And that last one, maybe not all his fault, but still he gets the credit for it. What a brutal way to lose too. You kind of have a chance to win and then you throw a pick to lose, basically.
And then Joe Burrow comes back. There's a spectacular throw to Chase. I don't know what that corner was doing.
Yeah. How about that place Chase made earlier in the game?
He's a spectacular player.
Before we get to the Bengals side of it, well, let's kind of break down the Titans part of it, though. I felt bad for the Titans fan. I mean, they had a chance to finally host an AFC Championship game in a while where they were the number 1 seed. And this was, to me, a perfect opportunity. I know the Bengals are tough, but I don't know. I just thought they had a bye. They got Henry back. Maybe there was a little just indecision with some of their – I don't know. What did you think?
I think maybe they overutilized Henry a little too much. He just didn't – he wasn't as effective as he was before the injury.
Yeah.
And 20 carries is a lot. It's the playoffs, though, so you're going to give it to your best guy. Foreman ran the ball well. So, like, I don't know. It's all Tannehill. It comes down to Tannehill, and he just wasn't good enough.
I said 4 picks.
He threw that one great pass to A.J. Brown. It just, like, Velcroed to his hand. It was a spectacular play. Yeah, just spectacular play by A.J. Brown. And then the defense was great for the Titans. They sacked Burrow 9 times. It literally all comes down to Tannehill making some costly mistakes.
I kind of want to go back
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. I'm curious to see what some of the Titans podcasts say this week when it comes to Henry, because it's kind of like when we get into Clay here in the Warriors. Not Clay's fault, but there's a rhythm that changes when you bring back somebody. And you try to get, I don't know, there's just a little bit of a difference there with it. I don't know, maybe I'm saying that was the difference maker. Obviously, Tannehill was, but man, you're right. 9 sacks. That's incredible that the Titans got 9 sacks. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine if the Niners played them in the Super Bowl? They'd be licking their chops over there. All right. Give me one kind of takeaway then what's your big takeaway from just the game in general? Burrow's a stud. What's Chase's? I mean, where are we at with the Bengals? It feels a little flawed. I don't know.
I'm not sold on. I think whoever wins this Chiefs-Bills game is going to win handily against the Bengals. But I think Burrow and Chase have made it clear they're going to be a top, dynamic QB wide receiver connection for the next decade.
If you're a Bengals fan, you got to be getting excited today. Like, okay, if we beat the Chiefs, we're going to go to the
You got to be thinking it.
The
Bills could find any way to blow a game. So I don't know. They got to take it one game at a time.
So what do the Titans do, Tyler? They get Rodgers. To me, that's the perfect fit.
Oh, I mean, Rodgers is a perfect fit for anyone who needs a quarterback.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Raiders. He's not a perfect fit for the Raiders. The Raiders aren't in good as for him to win a Super Bowl. The Raiders are not in a better position than the Titans.
Yeah, but he's still a perfect fit for the Raiders.
Well, I get what you're saying. Like, he's so great, he'd make the fit better. But I'm saying almost like a Tom-esque move where you're putting yourself in a better position to have players. If to me, him getting to the Titans would put him in a great position to succeed. I mean, we just talked about how
does it put him in a better position than playing with the Packers?
No, I'm saying if he moves on from the Packers.
But why would he want to move on from Green Bay to Tennessee? It's it's the same thing, kind of. Like, it's not the market he wants to be in. It just doesn't make sense.
The team is better though. Like he has.
Is it better than the Packers?
I mean, he has Henry, he has AJ Brown, he's got Julio Jones. He doesn't like their management at all, so that would be a good thing for him.
Yeah, that would be the biggest positive. He'd get new relationships that he'd ruin probably. Aaron Rodgers normally does.
He could do State Farm commercials in Nashville somewhere. They're in Memphis, right? I don't know. I just think it'd be a lift for a team.
It is a perfect fit.
It'd be a lift for a team that has failures all the time in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
I tweeted after the Niners-Packers game, Rodgers at Tennessee is going to be the rumor. Because it fits perfectly on the football field. I just don't think he would want to go to Tennessee, is my only.
Well, P-Shark, this is just a message to you. I would love to see a little, because he's always so calm. Let's see a little. I want to see him go off on that. It's on this one. I want to see a different side on this side. No, in all serious, check out his podcast. Let's tighten up. He always has good stuff. Always good guests on.
I think he's going to be on Savage's podcast as well on I Don't Know Sports this week. So check out I Don't Know Sports.
That out then. If that's out, yeah, I Don't Know Sports. Of course, Savage does one Monday mornings. He sends it out. That'd be great if he's on there. That would be. I'm sure there would be some good.
Yeah, I want to see that.
All right, so let's kind of get to now the game state real quick. We're not going to go into crazy breakdowns. We did that kind of a little yesterday. But give us your thoughts. You talk more. I'm going to mostly shut up and listen to you. Give me the 2 games. You got Rams, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs. Go. What do you got?
I think Rams, Bucks. It's going to be good Stafford, bad Stafford, and can the Bucks stay with Kupp and Odell? Odell looked like old Odell last week. There was something to behold. I was like, wow, this is the guy I've drafted the last 3 years, hoping we could do something.
It screwed me over every year.
And then Cam Akers played last week. He looked good. Just spectacular comeback. But they're going against the GOAT. Tom. Can you beat Tom?
I said from the beginning. I thought there was a chance with Tom, Tyler, real quick. Was that they keep saying he might retire. So to me, that's the big talk today. But I hate when they do that before a playoff game. It pisses me off when the media does that. Just throwing that out there. for whatever that's worth. Like, oh, he might retire. And then next week, the same things. All right, can we get rid of this?
I don't think he's retiring unless maybe if he wins another one, he'll retire. The team he has around him is too good. They're not
real quick before I let you get to the Bills Chiefs. Who do you want as a Niners fan? Rams?
I want Rams.
Really? You'd rather play the Rams?
Well, I mean, we went through the Cowboys and the Packers. Let's go through our third rival. I don't want to play a meaningless Tampa Bay team.
It just feels like the Rams, man. It seems like they lost 7 in a row. They got to win one, right? They got to win one eventually. Maybe not.
I mean, I don't know if it's a better matchup just to say you went through the Cowboys, Packers, and Rams to win your 6th Super Bowl, and hopefully the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm hoping for game of the week, Bills, Chiefs. What do you got?
Just the two, you would say the two most physically empowering quarterback, like
definitely the most gifted, I would say.
Yeah, gifted quarterbacks.
Arm strength, and just natural
speed, and just
Allen's an unreal runner.
No, Allen's doesn't get enough credit for how well he runs. He could be a Mike Allstott type like running back maybe if he wanted. He couldn't be quarterback running like that, but it's the game's going to come down if the Chiefs can play some defense. Whoever wants to play defense, can anyone get stops?
Sometimes in games like this, it can turn though. It's going to be an offensive battle. Be curious what happens here. Obviously, the turnovers will be big. And the
turnovers are always huge.
It basically has it as a pick 'em. I should have stuck with my instinct. I bet the Titans and then I bet the rest upsets. I really thought going into this weekend that every underdog could win. I think I said that. I picked the Titans because I thought they were due, but I mean, literally that's it could be set up to go here. If Rams and the Bills win, they technically are the underdogs. So we'll see what happens.
Are the Rams not favored?
No, Bucks are favored, I believe, by 2.
Where's the game at?
Tampa. Yeah, Tampa's the 2 seed.
Okay.
So that's where it'd be there. All right, so those are the games for the week here. Real quick, Tyler, let's kind of go to a podcast. You haven't been on for a couple of weeks, but I know you wanted to kind of just say something to me about the Chargers coaching decision. We were pretty harsh on you a little bit because you kind of defended, I felt like, him a little bit in that timeout that he called against the Raiders. And we're going way back here, people, but
week 18.
Just hang with us for a second. The Chargers, did that whole, calling for timeout here. And then kind of allowed the Raiders to basically go down and get a field goal, and Chargers did not make the playoffs. So the floor is yours.
All right. So you guys are ripping on me for saying the timeout is not what cost them the game. And you're saying it did in a way. You said the Raiders yes. I don't think it did. I think they waited till under 40 seconds in the game. So if they ran the ball and got a stop for no yards like they planned on, or 2 yards, there's not 8 yards like they got, then Raiders hold on to the ball and they punt, and the Chargers can do whatever they want. And you said, the Raiders went for the win once they called the timeout. They called the most conservative play call you could possibly call, just a halfback dive up the middle, and Jacobs just broke it to the left and found a hole. So I don't think the timeout's what caused all this. The execution after the timeout, yes, they didn't stop them, so Jacobs got a big run and put him in field goal position, and Carlson did what he did, and they won. But I think he put him in a better position to get a stop after the timeout, because before the timeout, they were in shotgun, 3 wide. After the timeout, they were in single back, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers. A more conservative play call, more conservative formation, obviously running, and they just couldn't stop the play.
All right. I hear what you're saying that, but I just completely, utterly just can't understand that thought process, because as the game was unfolding there, the Raiders coach there was no urgency. So when they called timeout, maybe they would have got 10 yards on the play. Who knows? Maybe the Raiders would have gotten that. Would have been years. That's the one factor that would have changed it. But they weren't really running very well the play before. They weren't doing much. It was like 3rd and 8 at that point now. And then you call timeout. Well, now if I'm the coach, I'm thinking, okay, now I need to obviously get a first down here, because now if I have to punt or if I go for it, now we're going to lose again. And now we're not going to be able to, make the playoffs. That's the Raiders. So what I'm saying is, by him calling that timeout, I think it made the Raiders think more urgently, like, okay, we need to think more about winning this game, opposed to we're going to play it out with a tie. I think there was a chance if they stopped them, the Chargers, and kept them from like a first down there, like got 3 yards, let's say the Raiders said. I think there's a small chance the Raiders let that run all the way down to 2 seconds and maybe try a 58-yard field goal. Maybe they still lose on it, but that's kind of where I think the rate, it just felt like there was no urgency. So to me, I don't know how you can say that the timeout didn't change that mindset.
They ran a halfback dive. They didn't show any urgency.
They weren't showing any urgency. There was like
they were still going to run one more play no matter what. If he called the timeout or didn't call a timeout.
But I'm saying by stopping the clock, then you knew the Chargers were going to stop the clock again.
Like what is that? No, you didn't know that they were going to do that.
Why wouldn't they do that? Why would they call?
Because they wanted to get prepared for the next play. All they were doing was getting prepared for the next play.
Okay, so you're saying if the Chargers would have stopped,
if you were so urgent trying to win, you wouldn't run a conservative halfback dive. You just didn't stop the halfback dive. That's the part that cost them the game.
But I agree.
That's all they ran was a halfback dive. They didn't do anything special.
I agree with that. But my whole point is by doing that, though, it changed the whole mindset too of the game. I don't
think it did.
At that point for me. To me, like the whole thought of it changed. And hey, we're gonna obviously disagree on that. We talked about it last week.
Were they gonna run a play no matter what? Yes, there was 4 seconds, 36 seconds when they called the time. 4 seconds on the play clock, 36 seconds on the game clock. They called timeout.
You put in worse players then, buddy.
they definitely did something that didn't work. I agree with that. It was a terrible execution of the defensive play.
I just think if the Raiders basically get 5 yards on it, you just let the play out, the Raiders are going to attempt a deep field goal or just take a tie. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
And that's what they did anyway. They attempted a deep field goal.
I just think it kind of again changed the momentum of it. You obviously see it that way. I think we should put a bow on it with that conversation there with it. So
and afterwards, Carr did say we were always playing to win. Even of course he's going to say that though. I take that with a grain of salt.
That's true. He was. And we just I just, one of those things, the truth serum 30 years from now, what were they actually thinking there? All right, let's take a break there. We'll be back with the NBA here. That was good NFL talk there. Please leave a comment if you got anything you want to say about the Raiders or about the Niners game, Titans game. You guys need to vent on that. Please do. That's something we're trying to get here. Maybe a few more commentary. All right, we'll be back to the NBA, and I'm going to rip on the Warriors here a little bit. All right, we're back here. Final segment, Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 71. Tyler, it's been a good one. We had Casey on here a little bit earlier. We were going over the Niners, Packers, just talking Titans, Bengals. That upset both number one seeds out, people. NFL heating up. Bet responsibly out there. NBA side, though. I got the NBA package at Tyler after I had Trevor on from the Let's Be Real podcast. I just love the way he was kind of be able to I've always wanted to get it. I've always talked about it. I used to have it a few years ago, but I was always disappointed with their app because I'm a big, as you know, a rewatchable person. So I love watching old games. And they kept having the same freaking games on for 3 years. I said, I'm over it. I'm not, did anyone get too frustrated? And then I was like, all the game, they wouldn't let you watch games that were on NBA TV. I was like, what the heck's the point of that? I was like, now I'm only getting all the crappy games because they're all the good ones are on ESPN, TNT, but now they let me actually watch the NBA TV game. So it's actually pretty cool. You can hide the scores. And I got it at a low price, people, $50, the lowest ever you could buy it. But because of Trevor, I ended up getting that package, and it's been great. And so I've been able to watch more of the games, keep up on some of the other teams a little bit, watch a few of the more players here a little bit. But I want to go on to the Warriors here. The reason I want this NBA segment is because I am, as you know, I am a hardcore Warriors fan.
Very passionate.
Very passionate. We've been just ever since those Jameis, like a little before that Jameis year, 1 year before that, that's where it started. Like I would just start watching all the games and start coming. Then I got to high school. Obviously, me and Adam were big Warriors guys. We had the same homeroom. Yeah, I'd go to his homeroom. We'd just rip about the Warriors the whole time. And there's always negativity there. There's only negativity, but we always tried to find the optimism. So my instincts are always to sometimes be a little bit harsh on them. And I know they've been playing good, but they're 6-7 now in their last 13 games. People might say, well, that's not bad if you're the Thunder. Yeah, well, we're not the Thunder. And that's not where I'm at. We started off better. And now I'm starting to get frustrated with them because I feel like we're at this point in the year where they start to get more like, well, we need to rest these guys here or there a little bit more. We're going to save it up for the end of the year here. Well, here's my reasons. Like our guy Savage had the 7 reasons the Cowboys couldn't win. Here's like my 7 reasons that the Warriors could never win or win this year. Okay. I'm frustrated with they're starting to get injured again. There's some of their players are getting banged up. Kerr even mentioned Green with possible back surgery. Alert. You know what I mean? Right there. So that immediately makes me nervous. Look how crappy they play without him. And you have to admit, he is playing at a different level, and he is a very important Tyler. He's not no little piece. This guy is super, super important. If they don't have him, there is no chance they're making a championship. There's no talk about it. They're not winning the finals without him, just like they're not winning the finals without Curry. Those two players on the court, as much as
they're not the same, but I agree they're both not winning a championship without that.
But they both are so important to what that team does. And Draymond's defense, you can see it. They just have no energy. Their passing's worse. And I feel like so that part worries me immediately with them. Curry is like struggling out of his world. I've never seen him play this bad for this long of a stretch, like shooting wise. Like he's even making some bad turnovers at her. And
he's done that his whole career.
Yeah, but they're like even worse. They're like some of them are even like maybe they're not worse. They're just he's doing that now.
And his shooting's bad.
Like he's made some outlet passes. I hate when he does these like little lazy outlet passes.
I hate the one-handed lefty over the like that he
trying
does
to pass it back to the guy that's
so
the screen or something stupid like that. So and he's really strong. He got so mad he went wrestling, he kicked the chair. I like that part. I did like about it. You see him? He kicked the chair going to the sideline after in the Rockets.
Yeah.
So he didn't go quite Mike Dunleavy and take the shirt off, but he did show a little emotion there, a little passion from the baby fast.
I thought he was gonna fold the chair up and hit Kerr in the back of the back.
I always feel like the more kids you have too, you start to get a little hot tempered. Maybe that's what he's up to kid number 3 now too. Yeah, maybe that's part of it. He's starting to get a little bit more tempered. But so Curry struggles. People might say, "Well, that's just going to shake off." Will it? I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be horrible every game, but we'll see what happens there.
And the Curry struggles coincide with Draymond Green being out, which is a scary part for if he has back surgery.
Yes, very scary. And their defense, Clay, they're trying to work him back in. That's always a struggle when you're trying to do that with a team. You have other players now having to adjust to a certain role that maybe like Lee, who was starting to who was okay, he's getting no minutes. So now when he has to come in these games with guys hurt, he's not very good anymore. Like he's worse to me than he was.
He was never very good.
He was the first 20 games, he was like averaging 10 points. He was a solid though, at least. You know what I mean? You can kind of depend on him for a few baskets. Now he's almost like he does nothing for us. So I'm a little worried about how they're going to mix Clay and how they're going to continue to Tyler, because he's missing games. He has to miss a back-to-back or this, or the subbing part of it. It pisses me off too. Like we're going to play him the first 4 minutes and then we're going to sit him for 19 straight minutes. I don't know. Like it's just, to me, the whole thing, they didn't play him in overtime in that one game because he hit against the Patriots, because he hit the minutes restriction. Just little things like that kind of are starting to worry me with it. Wiseman. I thought he was going to be back 3 weeks with the regular season start. I hate this about NBA teams. They say this, and then then he has some secret surgery in December. Now he's possibly going to be out for the year. I mean, I don't know. Like you can't just create an athletic big, and I don't know who they're trading for who's going to get that. So Tyler, that's what I'm concerned about. I'm also concerned about other teams in the league. I'm concerned about the Grizzlies. I'm concerned about the Suns. I'm concerned about maybe not the Jazz as much, but there's other teams in the East. But in the West, let's say the Warriors fall below the Jazz. Now they're in the 4 seed. That home field that we were talking about earlier, that home court, it can matter. And to tell me it doesn't matter, the Warriors, it will matter. So that also kind of has me concerned. And the other thing we talked about how good Kerr was 3 weeks ago, and he is good, but he hasn't coached good these last. He actually has not. I don't feel like his teams aren't prepared. The Warriors usually come out better. And they're not these last 13 games. They're not getting off to like the really good starts that they usually sometimes do. And I just don't think he's been as good in his game. He's admitted it. He's even said in some of his quotes, maybe that's just because that's their culture and they take responsibility, but it's just a small little thing. He's not horrible. They still have good out of balance plays and stuff like that, but something's not clicking there. They're not getting the offense and the flow there. And that's what the guy's missing.
The only time you can ridicule Kerr is when he doesn't have a full plate. When he doesn't have his full roster. Yeah, he's going to struggle more when he's missing guys.
Then I'm giving the guy from the Pacers more credit than he wins with better crap. He got his guys to play harder on that night and better.
They've won like 15 games the whole year.
Okay, but my point is on that one night, he got him to play harder.
Okay, all right.
The Warriors aren't playing as good with those guys on the bench. Like get those guys that aren't playing less minutes to do it.
That's such a small sample size.
It is, and that's what I'm talking about right here. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay.
Stretch is like how I'm a little frustrated. It makes me a little bit worried about them. So sometimes I have to do this. I have to rip on them. I know it's still a long season. I'm not one of these fans where I'm unrealistic to it. but I see signs of worry. And Mateo can say to me on Twitter, well, we'll wait till April. Well, by that point, it might be a 4 seed and you're matched up against the Nuggets in the first round, and you're having to play the Grizzlies the next round, and then you're having to play the Suns again. You know what I mean? I'm supposed to be kind of realistic too, though. Let's not just say everything's great because, this guy's out and this guy's going to get healthy. Turn it around. Let's go. I don't want to see any more of this. Let's start playing better. Today we play the Jazz. I expect a win. Let's go. Tyler, your take.
All right, let me respond to what you said. Like your whole thing.
Down, please.
Is there a better time of year where you could go through this lull before the All-Star break? This is the perfect time for this. Like, in my opinion. If you're gonna go through one, every team does. Well, not every team, but 90% of the teams do. And it's all contingent on health. If Draymond comes back healthy and Clay can get his minutes back, he's been out 2 years. They're not trying to see him go tear a hammy because he isn't fully healthy. His muscles aren't fully built back up from the 2-year absence. It takes time to bring these guys back, like you said. And the problem, Steph Curry's efficiency is at like a Larry Hughes level. It's really bad his shooting right now. It's below 40% from 2. It's like 32% from 3. He's just not shooting the ball. And that's a weird thing because he's never gone through like a 15-game stretch where he's shooting this poor. And I think he's been bad. Yeah, he hasn't been good. But if Draymond, but like you said, that back surgery, if he has back surgery, this season's done.
We're done. Yeah.
They're not winning any. They might get out of the first round of the playoffs. They're not winning, and probably not even that, to be honest.
We couldn't even beat the Grizzlies last year with Curry and Daren in the play-in game. So yeah, so there's like we're not like this. That's where I want to. And Poole and Wiggins, I still need to see him right in big games. Let's see how he plays in a playoff game. Is he going to go to Harrison Barnes level, or is he going to get?
I think he played pretty good against the Memphis Grizzlies, from what I remember.
Yeah, he's not shooting. The whole team's not shooting well. They're not scoring. And on the road, Tyler, that's where I'm really like. That's why I don't want them to get road games. They're like 14-11. That's not that good on the road. And they've lost that. As soon as they lost to the Pelicans, I was like, this might be a bad stretch here.
But look who played in that game. There was nobody played in that game.
It was the Pelicans, I expect.
But you were playing Pelican as players against the Pelicans.
Ingram in the game? I don't remember him playing it that much. I guess Graham and I guess Valanciunas are NBA players, Tyler. All right. I don't know. I don't know. I just want to see him start playing better. That's all. It's frustrating watching this crappy basketball after you've been watching it so well for so long. So maybe they're just coming back to earth a little bit. The injuries are definitely making a factor on. They're missing just guys for thumb injuries or Otto's missing games, and I don't know. Just causes a little rhythm out of your rhythm there. So
and like those role players we were raving about have been terrible the last 10 to 15 games. Like Otto, Bielitsa, they haven't been making shots.
I need to go back to the original NBA preview podcast because that's where I think I said the Warriors will be like this and be like 500 until March, and then they'll pick it up. So maybe I need to go back.
Yeah, and just low temper expectations. Take the Aaron Rodgers approach. Relax. RELAX.
Well, he will be relaxing the rest of the year.
Thank God. Get that smug asshole off my screen.
All right, so that's my Warriors rant. I'm serious. The Wiseman though thing does have me. That's to me out of all those. The Green back injury. Wiseman's not. Is he ever going to play? There's the people on the spaces told me to just be patient. I'm being patient. It's been like 410 days. We're being patient.
It's been a whole college career, a whole NBA career, just down the drain so far.
It'd be funny if if Wiseman was like the one guy, like let's say he plays like 65 games next year and but shows good potential in the Warriors somehow, but then he gets hurt again. The Warriors pay him like $28 million or something like that on a 3-year deal, and then he can't play ever again. He's like the one player that never had to play at college, never really had to play in the pros. He makes money. No, I really want him to be good. We'll see. Anyways, that's my Warriors. Thank you for calming me down a little bit, Tyler, with it. I did want to point out one thing you said, though. This is the worst time of the year for basketball. As much as I'm liking the NBA package, there's a lot teams sit guys this time of year. They do. Like you get nicked up, they're sitting you. You know, especially if you're like the star players.
Any sort of injury.
League pass. And that's that's why sometimes I get mad about this. It's like, it's not just like my team. It's the little teams like, oh, this guy's on a, it's not as obvious anymore. They're not doing it like on back-to-backs all the time. But like, if there's a reason to sit them, they're still sitting guys for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it's just automatic if you have any sort of
Look at the
banged up part of your body, you're done for a week.
The Pacers sat like 70 guys against the Warriors. like the Pacers. I know Sabonis rolled his ankle against the Lakers. I saw that at the end of the game. I knew he'd probably sit, but LeVert sitting, and then obviously that was a good decision. So
speaking of injuries and lightning rods, what do you think of our favorite player, or your favorite player, Grayson Allen?
Well, I kind of like little guys like guys like that are willing to. I know it sounds messed up to say hurt people. I know that's not the right word, but I don't mind.
Like a hard foul.
I don't mind a bit of that. And I think the reason I don't mind it is because as long as it's good for your team in terms of like their psychology of it. Some teams, they don't, like if you're a really good team, you might not want to deal with that stuff a little bit. But I feel like for the Bucks, it might not be the worst. Kind of take some stuff off Giannis a little bit. He's kind of like the hated man he's kind of like the Draymond. Not like Draymond, but just the fan base can put more of their hatred towards him.
Everybody hates him.
Have to relax a little bit. I don't know. I think it kind of fits their team a little bit. And he obviously, this is a reputation, right? He had a little grin after it, a little white on white crime there. We don't want to see that. Let's go there, buddy. What are we doing there?
Oh God. It's funny because like 10 minutes before that, I don't know what the play was, but the same thing happened in another game and it hasn't been brought up since.
Oh yeah. The Allen one.
Who was it?
Allen again. Didn't Allen do it?
It was a different game, but same team, same day, different teams.
Gotcha.
I remember them showing it, and I was like, "Wow, that was a pretty hard foul." Then Grayson Allen did it like 10 minutes later, and they're like, "Oh, another hard foul." And this is all they don't even talk about the other one. I don't know if it's because Caruso broke his wrist or
probably didn't help, and he did it against the Bulls, obviously a big market franchise.
And your Grayson Allen.
And your Grayson Allen when you trip people at Duke, and those were cheap plays, and he obviously is a cheap shot artist, and so for him, it's just. Does he find a team is he good enough to make threes? And does he do enough on the court? Is he not doing stupid enough fouls to like kind of hurt your team enough? So that'll be kind of the key with him. That was the injury to that was big. I bet the Bulls are going to foul him very hard next time they see him, if they get a chance to. So the injuries though are piling up. So to me, the bad basketball there. I had a bad beat earlier this week in basketball, but that's all right. Any team you're going to watch this week, or anything a team you kind of have an eye going towards the trade deadline, anything, and then we'll kind of call it a podcast here.
I've been watching the 76ers. Watching Embiid lately he's a spectacular. He's
on fire.
He should be the MVP in my opinion if he can get up to like a 4 or 3 seed.
They're 6 right now. Only 3 games out of the first though. And
yeah, exactly.
We'll see.
He's so good. He's like Shaq, but not as big. Way more skilled as far as shooting the ball.
It's so funny, like you see like him, and then you see like a Rudy Gobert, like they're both 7 feet. You're just such a different 7 feet. Like, you know what I mean? Just the way the skill level and like I said, if the Sixers win the championship, people, I think that's when maybe you start to see not everything changed, but the pace might slowly go down slightly a little bit there. That's all I'm going to say about that. If that happens, they're averaging 107 points. That seems like a lot, but that's not compared to like the top 10 teams in the league. So it will slow the pace down. You'll have to get a big man if you can prove it. Come playoff time, the Warriors won't be able to play this small lineup.
But the only thing is there's no one coaching players like him anymore. So it's hard to be like, all right, let's play this way when everyone coming up is playing 3 and dunks and threes. There's no big guys are getting on the block who can, like in AU. Do you think any big guys like, oh yeah, give it to me on the block?
No, I don't think they're.
I don't want to do
I know that's my problem with it, but I'm saying the coaches need to do better in that regard. There's always a few guys like that. Like if they're usually from other countries.
Yeah.
Like,
how many guys can you put on the block and dominate?
Who's the guy we liked last year from Iowa? What was his name?
It's Luka Garza.
Yeah, he was on the Pistons earlier in the year. I think, right? Big Garza.
But look at the guys you can put on the block and dominate. Jokic from Croatia. I think he's from Croatia.
Yes.
And
B.
Giannis from Greece. And B's from Cameroon, I believe. I don't know.
Yeah.
And those are about it. Like that could actually like win games from that spot.
It's got to be somebody else too. Got to be somebody else.
Sabonis maybe. But look at that. They win. Yeah,
LeBron.
he's not that good. Like to just win games like that.
I say LeBron James could be, but he doesn't. They don't treat him like that. They don't treat
Yeah,
him like
he's
that. Like
not-
I'm saying,
he'll
he
get-
literally gave it to him every possession on the block.
But if he plays that way, he'll get hurt. He can't stay as healthy playing that way.
Well, then you're frauds. Those workout videos, the intensity. That's all for supply. Come on, you can't post up. And you're gonna get hurt.
You're gonna
Like,
get a lot of hate for calling.
You're gonna
him
post
fraud.
up. You're gonna get hurt.
You can't say bad things about LeBron.
Just
People
take
get
the
very
double team.
sensitive. People
Why
get
is it? Why
sensitive.
does he have a sensitive fan base?
I don't know. It's the worst.
Is it because he's sensitive?
Probably.
I would probably be a little sensitive too, though. If somebody said something, I might be. I mean, I might not be like. I
don't think you would. I don't think you would. I think
No.
you'd say, I don't care. I have $500 million in the bank and I'm the best NBA player. I don't care what little Mikey over here thinks.
I would put Arthur Mood post on me. I'm in a mood right now. We don't want that right there. I don't know. We'll see. I guess we'll never know.
Exactly. We'll never know.
Well, on that note, Tyler, good podcast. Again,
It's good to be back.
it is good to have you back. Be sure to follow Tyler on Twitter. He does good posts here. Casey, you can follow him on Twitter. He doesn't always respond. Once in a while, he doesn't respond once in a while. Hopefully, he's out there making baskets this morning at the airport club. No hurt, no injuries, Casey. This is that time of the year, so you got to be careful out there. So, good podcast again. Want to shout out the guys at Let's Be Real podcast, House of Hoops, your brother Ryan this week, Brian Johnson for joining us yesterday. Maybe it was good luck for you, Tyler. Maybe we got to bring him on next.
Yeah. Good job, Brian.
He was able to do it, get it done. He called what he called. I called 31-30. What a horrible prediction.
Not good.
I did pick the Niners to win, so I got salvaged with that. All right, Tyler, have a good Sunday, my man, and enjoy the games. And then we'll see who they play next week. Peace. Later.
Better.